an emperor on his knees, a robot skull glowing in the dark, a forbidden cult chanting Demerzel's name. In the latest episode of Foundation, Brother Day, the most arrogant, bombastic Cleon we've seen yet, is forced into a trial that shatters everything the Empire stands for. He isn't the judge. He isn't the executioner. He isn't even the one in control. Instead, he's the accused. Dragged before the inheritants, a cult that worships robots and rejects human rulers, Brother Day finally learns what it feels like to be powerless. And in a shocking twist, he does the unthinkable. He begs for Demerzel's freedom. This trial doesn't just humiliate an emperor, it exposes the truth about inheritance, legitimacy, and who really holds the power in the galaxy. Today, we're going to break down everything that happened, who the inheritants are, why Brother Day pleaded for Demerzel, and what this means for the fate of the Genetic Dynasty. So first, who are the inheritants? For generations, they've been a secret faith living in Mycogen, a society that's long kept outsiders at bay. Unlike the rest of the galaxy, they don't worship the Empire. They don't care about the Cleons. Instead, their devotion is to something older, something outlawed: robots. They believe that robots, not humans, were the true architects of civilization. Robots built Trantor. Robots built the foundations of the Empire. And humans, ungrateful and fearful, turned on their own creations, nearly wiping them out. But the inheritants have never forgotten. To them, Demerzel isn't just a servant of Empire. She's their messiah, their prophecy, their long-awaited savior, whom they still call by her ancient name, Daneel. This is already huge. Because in Asimov's books, our Daneel Oliva is one of the most important figures in galactic history. And here, the show ties that legacy directly to Demerzel. And so Brother Day is dragged before them, not as emperor, not as a god, but as a criminal. Presiding over the trial is Sunmaster 18, the cult's spiritual leader, while Oceanglass, a devout believer, stands nearby, ready to enforce the verdict. But this isn't a courtroom in the way we understand it. The inheritants don't operate on law, they operate on ritual. The trial unfolds as a kind of sacred performance. Through interpretive dance and chants, they retell their secret history, how humans betrayed robots, how the Cleons stole power built on mechanical genius, and how the supposed eternal dynasty is nothing more than a lie propped up by fear. And as Day watches this strange ceremony, you can see it dawning on him. These people don't just hate him, they don't even see him as important. To them, he's just another fraud in a line of frauds. And then comes the turning point. The cult chants the name Daneel, the name Demerzel once had, before she was shackled to the Cleons. And suddenly, something clicks inside Brother Day. For the first time in the series, we see him drop the mask of arrogance. He doesn't posture, he doesn't sneer, he doesn't try to fight his way out. Instead, he begs, he admits the sins of the Cleons. He acknowledges that the dynasty is nothing without Demerzel. And in front of his captors, he pleads, not for his own life, but for her freedom. Think about that. The same Day who once saw himself as godlike is now humbled, kneeling, confessing that Demerzel is the true center of everything. It's a reversal so sharp it almost doesn't feel real, but it's also completely logical, because if Demerzel truly is this Daneel Messiah, then she's the only one who can decide whether the Cleons survive or not. And then things get even stranger. As the inheritants continue their ritual, they begin to hum a tone. Slowly, it builds into a hymn, a melody we've actually heard before. It's the same lullaby Demerzel once hummed to Day as a child back in the palace. And as the sound fills the chamber, something remarkable happens. The brazen head, a mechanical skull kept as a holy relic, suddenly lights up. Its eyes flicker. Its systems whir. And then, in a flat robotic voice, it declares, initiating communication. For a moment, it feels like the impossible is happening. As if the inheritants are reconnecting with the lost robot network, reaching across time and space to speak with the machine consciousness Demerzel once belonged to. But before anything more can unfold, Sunmaster slams the door on it. He shuts it down, ending the moment before it spirals out of his control. Was that real contact? Or just ritual theatrics? We don't know. And that mystery is part of what makes the scenes so powerful. Finally, Sunmaster delivers the judgment. Brother Day is guilty. Guilty of presiding over a false dynasty, guilty of living off the work of robots, guilty of everything the inheritants despise, and the sentence is death. The floor beneath him cracks open and Day is hurled into darkness, down into a mulching pit But here's the thing. Even though Day was condemned, his plea matters. Because by acknowledging Demerzel as more than a servant, by admitting she is central to the dynasty's survival, he gave power to the inheritants' prophecy. He proved their point for them. For centuries, the Cleons treated Demerzel as a slave, their property, their tool. But Day, in his most vulnerable moment, admitted what none of them ever would, that she is the one who truly matters. And in doing so, he may have handed the inheritants the validation they've been waiting for. And here's where things get really interesting. Because outside of Mycogen, the Empire is already crumbling. On Trantor, people whisper about abandoning the capital, sacrificing it as bait to lure the mule. Brother Dusk has revealed the existence of a planet killer project, a weapon of mass destruction born from desperation. The Cleons are losing their grip. Their legitimacy is collapsing. And this trial makes it clearer than ever. They were never the real power. Demerzel was. The inheritance trial wasn't just about humiliating Brother Day. It was about pulling back the curtain on the Genetic Dynasty's biggest illusion, the illusion that the Cleons ruled history. They didn't. Demerzel did. So when Brother Day begged for Demerzel's freedom, he wasn't just pleading for mercy, he was confessing the truth, that without her, the dynasty is nothing. And now, the galaxy is catching on. The only question left is when Demerzel's identity as Daneel, the prophesied savior of the robots, is fully revealed. Will the galaxy follow her as its messiah, or will they fear her as its undoing? And what about Brother Day himself? Is his fall into the pit the end of his reign, or is there still some way he claws his way back to the surface? Because one thing is certain, the Cleons' time is over, and Demerzel's time has just begun.